Joining us right now is Jason Miller. He's with the Trump transition team. He's a senior advisor there. And Jason, if your ears were ringing, we were talking about you just in the last 10 minutes or so. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So we were talking about you in the context of the many executive orders that are expected to be coming today. We've heard as many as 200 executive orders. What can you tell us about what we should be facing?
Yeah, so today is going to be a plan of action. It's going to be different from what we've seen with previous inaugurals, where typically incoming presidents have a bunch of empty rhetoric and promises that they're never going to get to. But with President Trump, this is only the second time in our nation's history that we have a president who's returning to office. So he knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows how he wants to improve people's lives, literally starting on day one. So as soon as he's sworn in at 12:01 p.m., he's going to start signing the executive orders to secure the border. We talk about putting his policies back in place, such as remain in Mexico, ending catch and release, stopping this nonsense app that allows people to effectively come in illegally just with an app on their smartphone, deploying National Guard to the southern border. So we're going to see a lot of action and excitement around that, but also very important to many of your viewers right now, getting some of the energy production going again and open up some of this permitting. Obviously, we saw what Joe Biden did with shutting down some pipelines and other things. And so knowing that this economy has to be turned around, we have to get it improved. This is going to be really at the forefront for President Trump. And again, today is about a plan of action. He'll talk about this revolution of common sense, of putting his policies back in. And so it's going to be about very detailed, specific, a little bit more programmatic, but we can bring back that golden age of America, and it's going to start today.
We had just had a reporter on who had been hearing bits and pieces about the potential for ending birthright citizenship, which is part of the 14th Amendment. Is that an executive order that will be issued today?
Well, it's certainly something that President Trump has spoken about on the campaign trail. It's not something that I'm currently tracking as far as today, but then again, I haven't seen necessarily all of the executive orders. Between the executive orders and the executive actions, we're probably going to be in the neighborhood of somewhere right around 100. So it's going to be a lot. And like I said, right when President Trump is sworn in, he's going to start signing those. When he gets over to the Capital One Arena just a couple hours later, that'll be part of the program as well. So this is, again, we've never seen anything like what we're going to see today with this plan of action of him putting this really into motion. And so it's going to be a very energetic day. It's going to be an upbeat day. But I also want to make sure that people realize one thing. We have some real challenges that are facing our country. The last 4 years with Joe Biden has been a disaster. And so President Trump will lay out some of those things, some of the challenges that we're facing. But again, he has the solution. He has exactly what can be done to help you. That's the difference with today.
Jason, is there anything you can tell us about trade and tariffs, any executive orders that might be signed today that would implement some of the things that incoming President Trump has talked about?
Well, very early on, whether it's today or within the next few days, there are going to be a number of those principles that are laid out. The president has talked about trade and tariffs pretty extensively on the campaign trail. Some of those things will take a little bit more time than others, but I would say for initially today, the focus will be on the border and securing the border and starting to deport some of the criminal illegals that are here. By the way, we already have 1.3 million individuals in this country who are processed and ready to be deported, and so we're going to start there. Also, we know exactly where these gang members are, the Tren de Aragua and some of the multinational gangs that are around, but also with the energy production, that's the focus. But we are also going to go through and start uprooting completely some of the DEI and the wokeism that's infected our government. One other thing, too, there's going to be a clawback from tens of billions of dollars of this Green New Deal money that have been allocated. So we're going to stop that from being spent. Obviously, that helps spark and lead to much of the inflation that we saw in this country. And so we're going to get some common sense back in the White House and back in government.